Ayanokoji gets the hard work done anywhere at any time, to the point where it almost looks effortless. The truth is that this is not simply due to his willpower, but rather a result of his training in the White Room, where he learned to force his brain to crave hard work. What if I told you that this is not just possible in fiction? In this video, I will tell you about a scientifically backed framework to turn self-improvement into an addictive and almost irresistible process. But before we talk about the framework, we'll have to understand how an addiction starts in the first place. For that, let's take a look at why something as simple as scrolling through social media is so compelling. According to research, social media is highly addictive for 3 reasons. It stimulates our senses, it provides instant dopamine, and it is incredibly easy to engage with. These 3 factors together greatly enhance dopamine production, which is one of the most addictive hormones in the human body. This is why the framework to become addicted to self-improvement will include 2 ways to stimulate your senses, 2 ways to boost your dopamine levels, and then 2 strategies to make self-improvement easier and more engaging. On top of all of that, at the end, you will also learn about the underlying problem behind your lack of drive when it comes to hard work. Now, let's get to the juicy part. Let's first talk about the visual stimulation. A simple but absolutely game-changing habit is to turn your calendar into a scoreboard and mark each day you got all your habits done with a red cross. This technique leverages the principles of visual reinforcement and habit formation. As I already illustrated when talking about social media addiction, visual stimuli can significantly impact motivation and behavior, and the act of marking a calendar each day creates a tangible representation of your efforts and progress. This is akin to the concept of streaks used in social media platforms like Snapchat, where you are motivated to maintain consecutive days of interaction to build a streak. Also, a study published in the European Journal of Social Psychology found that it takes an average of 66 days to form a new habit. By visually tracking your progress, you create a daily reminder that reinforces the habit loop of cue, routine, and reward. The growing chain of red crosses serves as a cue, reminding you of your goal. The daily action serves as the routine, and the visual streak itself acts as a reward, which makes continued effort a lot easier. Just as visual stimuli can make hard work addicting by providing clear progress markers, auditory stimuli can complement this by optimizing your mental state. Now, what exactly am I talking about? Well, you have probably heard about it before, but let me introduce it from a different angle. When 2 tones at slightly different frequencies are played separately to each ear, the brain perceives a third tone, which is the difference between the 2 frequencies. Do you know what I am talking about now? This third tone is called a binaural beat and can influence brainwave activity. In the context of making self-improvement addicting, 40 Hz binaural beats are the most relevant, because research has shown that binaural beats can enhance cognitive functions, including focus and concentration. This form of auditory stimulation can make tasks more enjoyable and help you develop a positive association with the activities involved in your self-improvement routine. Over time, as you experience increased focus and productivity, you will likely develop an addiction to this heightened state of performance, which will further reinforce your commitment to hard work. Just remember that you have to use headphones for binaural beats to work. Also, the volume should be as low as possible, just loud enough to clearly hear both tones and the pulsating or wobbling sound. Having established a strong sensory foundation, you can now amplify the effect even more with the second part of this framework. As I mentioned before, the second principle which makes something addictive is the ease and instantaneousness of engagement. When you scroll through social media, the content is presented to you effortlessly, which triggers the release of dopamine. This is the reason why the snowball technique is such an overpowered method. What the hell is the snowball technique? The concept is simple, yet effective. Start with small, easy-to-achieve tasks that provide immediate rewards. This approach is analogous to a snowball rolling downhill and gradually picking up size and momentum. By beginning with manageable tasks, you experience a sense of accomplishment quickly, which releases dopamine, just like when scrolling on social media. This immediate reward creates a positive feedback loop, where the satisfaction of completing a task propels you to tackle slightly more challenging goals. Over time, these incremental successes build upon each other, which maintains your motivation. How would this look like in real life? For instance, begin your day by making your bed. This easy task can be completed quickly, giving you an immediate sense of accomplishment and setting a positive tone for the rest of the day. Next, move on to another simple task, such as drinking 500 milliliters of water. This helps you feel healthy early on and keeps the momentum going. Then, gradually transition to more complex tasks. For example, you might spend time working on a moderately challenging homework. By the time you reach the more demanding tasks, like learning for an important exam or engaging in a rigorous workout, you are already in a productive mindset and have built up the necessary momentum. Other than that, you should also incorporate naturally gratifying elements into your self-improvement routine. One powerful example of this is taking cold showers. Yes, they are initially uncomfortable, but cold exposure triggers a long arc release of dopamine that makes you more likely to tackle challenging tasks throughout the day. This is completely different from activities like gaming and social media because they trigger a huge spike in dopamine, which results in a subsequent drop below baseline level. Cold showers, on the other hand, create a more balanced dopamine curve, helping you avoid the significant lows that follow high spikes. Now that you've started to rewire your brain's reward system and found ways to make self-improvement easier, it's finally time to get to the last piece of the puzzle. First, it's crucial to recognize that you are likely desensitized to dopamine, which means you require much more stimulation to feel motivated. But don't worry, you don't have to meditate for 10 hours a day like a monk to change that. Mastering your dopaminergic system involves learning to make the boring rewarding. To achieve this, you need to rethink how you take breaks. If you're like most people, you tend to take dopamine-fueled breaks, like scrolling through TikTok between study sessions. However, engaging in something more stimulating than your current task during breaks is detrimental. Imagine how dull it feels to read a dense philosophical text right after being bombarded with the endless novelty of social media. Now contrast that with how eager your brain would be to dive into that text after spending 20 minutes simply staring at a wall. So, the first principle for accomplishing hard work effortlessly is to make your breaks as boring as possible. Building on that idea, the next principle is to learn to inhabit in-between moments. Think about what you did the last time you were waiting in line or sitting on public transport. My guess is that you were scrolling on your phone or listening to music. Every time you do this, you miss out on a major opportunity, a chance to ground yourself in the present moment. By cutting out this unintentional information consumption, you can counteract the desensitization of your dopamine receptors, which again results in increased drive and productivity. So the next time you find yourself on the way to school, resist the urge to listen to music or check your phone. Instead, take a moment to observe your surroundings and connect with the present. Now, let's get to the root cause. The source of your motivation. This is where the underlying problem for most people is, but also a goldmine for instantaneous improvement. Motivation can be classified as either intrinsic or extrinsic. Extrinsic motivation is driven by external rewards like money, status, and praise, and can be likened to fossil fuels. It is externally controlled, provides a temporary boost, and eventually depletes. In contrast, intrinsic motivation arises from within and is inherently self-sustaining. For example, you listen to a song to enjoy it, not merely to finish it. This form of motivation is more enduring and reliable. And how can you change your fuel source? Well, to transition from extrinsic to intrinsic motivation, focus on the 5 intrinsic motivators: curiosity, mastery, autotelicity, purpose, and autonomy. To cultivate curiosity, learn something related to your work and apply it immediately. The direct application of new knowledge reinforces neural connections, which sparks a desire to learn more and boosts your intrinsic motivation. Set incremental goals to foster a sense of mastery. The pursuit of mastery releases dopamine when goals are achieved. By breaking down larger objectives into smaller, achievable tasks, you experience regular dopamine release with each success, enhancing your intrinsic motivation. When it comes to autotelicity, it's all about engaging in activities for their own sake. So to harness autotelicity, immerse yourself in activities that align with your passions. To cultivate purpose, you have to understand the larger impact of your actions, so regularly reflect on the broader significance of your efforts. Lastly, autonomy activates the brain's reward system by providing a sense of control over your actions, which is inherently motivating, so setting personal development goals can be really beneficial here. Respect for being able to watch an educational video like this till the end. Your support means a lot and helps me continue to create content that can make a difference in your life. Thank you for watching, and you got this, bro.